Elias Thorne, a veteran garbage truck driver, knew the smell of the southern Eastern Cape landfill like the back of his hand. Every day, the vast, stinking expanse was his office, a place where civilization's refuse met the wild's forgotten edge. That morning, the air hung thick and humid, a suffocating blanket under the rising sun. He had just brought his colossal rig to a halt when a sound, faint yet piercing, cut through the cacophony of gulls and machinery. It was a long, broken moan, a sound of profound despair. Squinting through the shimmering heat haze, amidst the shifting mountains of plastic and rags, he saw a gaunt, dark shape. Curiosity, a rare indulgence in his line of work, pulled him a few meters closer. He initially thought it was a stray dog, perhaps a scavenging hyena. But when the creature slowly turned, its eyes, deep-set and haunted, made Elias freeze. It was a lion. Its once golden fur was matted and black with filth, its ribs starkly visible beneath the grime. A crumpled plastic bag, perhaps its last futile attempt at sustenance, was clutched weakly in its mouth. Elias recoiled, a primal fear seizing his heart, but then a wave of profound pity washed over him. The lion held no aggression. It was a shadow of its former self, its strength utterly depleted. It simply looked at him, a pleading, desperate gaze, before bowing its head and collapsing beside a mound of refuse, its breathing ragged and shallow. Without a second thought, Elias fumbled for his phone, his hands trembling as he dialed the ranger station near Thaba Wildlife Sanctuary. "There's a lion here," he choked out, his voice barely a whisper, at the dump. It's dying." The calm, reassuring voice on the other end promised rescue workers within 30 minutes. Elias stood, a lone sentinel in the scorching sun, watching the motionless form, a suffocating helplessness clutching at his chest. He had never witnessed such raw, animal despair before. True to their word, a ranger's pickup truck roared up the dusty track, kicking up a plume of red earth. Two figures in crisp, blue uniforms emerged, Ranger Kian and Ranger Lena, from the Thaba Wildlife Conservation Center. Elias rushed over, his words tumbling out in a torrent as he pointed to the barely discernible lion. Ranger Kian's face, usually stoic, paled when he saw the emaciated, dirt-encrusted creature. Barely recognizable, he murmured, his voice tight. Lena knelt closer, her eyes scanning the limp form. "It's breathing, weakly, but it's alive." Their movements became swift, purposeful. They retrieved a dart gun, soft ropes, and specialized fabric nets from the truck. Elias backed away, a silent prayer forming on his lips, hoping this fragile life wouldn't be extinguished before his eyes. Ranger Kian, his hand steady despite the gravity of the situation, aimed and fired the tranquilizer dart into the lion's left hind thigh. The lion offered no resistance, only a soft groan as its eyes glazed over, succumbing to a deep, drug-induced sleep within minutes. Lena carefully wrapped a thick blanket around the animal's legs, and together, with surprising strength, she and Kian, guided by Elias, managed to lift the lion onto Elias's sturdy garbage cart. The three men worked in a synchronized, desperate ballot, finally maneuvering the massive, yet fragile, body into the back of the ranger's rescue truck. The engine roared to life, the truck spinning away from the putrid landfill and speeding towards Thaba Sanctuary's veterinary station. Along the way, Lena meticulously monitored the lion's breathing, heart rate, and temperature, her brow furrowed with concern. Kian, meanwhile, radioed ahead, alerting the veterinary team to prepare the emergency operating theater. Elias stood watching the truck disappear, a strange mix of hope and bewilderment swirling within him, unable to immediately leave the desolate landscape. Upon arrival at the veterinary station, a flurry of activity erupted. A team of doctors and nurses, led by the chief veterinarian, were already waiting outside the emergency room. The lion was carefully transferred to a stretcher. The chief doctor immediately ordered an intravenous injection to stabilize its erratic heart rate and a full-body scan. A sharp-eyed female doctor, Dr. Anya Sharma, noticed an abnormal swelling in its abdomen, immediately suspecting a foreign object. An ultrasound and endoscopy were performed without delay. The results were grim. A tangled mass of nylon bags and sharp, hardened plastic fragments were lodged in its intestines. A delicate, emergency surgery was performed, and over half a kilo of ingested refuse, remnants of its desperate struggle to survive outside the wild, was carefully removed. Kian and Lena waited outside, their faces tense, eyes glued to the operating room door. After more than 2 agonizing hours, the surgery concluded successfully. The doctors emerged, announcing that the lion had overcome the immediate danger. It was given a name, Zola, meaning calm or tranquil, in the local Xhosa language, a poignant contrast to its harrowing ordeal. Dr. Anya Sharma meticulously penned a detailed report, initial condition critical, but remarkable recovery potential observed. Zola was given intravenous fluids, a course of potent antibiotics, and placed in a sterile isolation cage for close monitoring. Kian immediately sent Zola's first post, rescue image back to the sanctuary's data center, marking the beginning of its monitored progress. Elias was also informed of Zola's survival and the start of its intensive treatment, a wave of relief washing over him. The next day, Dr. Sharma gently applied antiseptic to the scratches and administered energy-boosting vitamins. Though still weak, Zola managed to open its eyes, responding faintly to the soft footsteps and the enticing smell of food. Its true journey of survival, now imbued with opportunity and love, had truly begun. Zola was placed in a separate, clean cage with a dry straw floor, a fresh bowl of water, and soft, steamed meat. The first day, it lay mostly still, occasionally shifting in discomfort, but the fear that had once clouded its eyes was gone. Doctors took turns checking its heart rate, breathing, and administering medication on schedule. On the second day, Zola slowly lifted its head, drank a few tentative sips of water, and then drifted back into a long, restorative sleep. The scabs on its back began to dry, meticulously treated with antibiotics daily by the technicians. By the third day, a flicker of its old self returned. It was able to chew a few pieces of the soft, steamed meat that Dr. Sharma placed near its snout. Ranger Kian stopped by, gently calling out, "Zola," causing the lion to turn its head and blink with a surprising hint of emotion. Lena stood quietly behind the cage bars, capturing the moment Zola first stood on all fours, a shaky but triumphant step. A week passed, marked by small but significant victories. Zola's weight increased slightly, and its fur, though still patchy, began to show signs of new growth. Conservationists began to keep detailed records of every positive change, every ounce of progress. On the 10th day, Elias came by, his eyes kind and full of gratitude as he peered through the bars. Zola began to show increasing alertness, reacting with a subtle twitch of its ears to loud noises and strange smells. Dr. Sharma smiled. "It's regaining its wild instincts. That's a very good sign." The lion was no longer the emaciated, defeated creature from the garbage dump. It was gradually powerfully becoming a real warrior again. The life it had fought so hard for, exchanged for many days of hardship, was now budding, step by step. After 28 days of intensive treatment, Zola was taken for a comprehensive health check before leaving the quarantine area. Blood tests, endoscopy, heart rate, and muscle tests all came back with unexpectedly positive results. The doctors and rangers made a unanimous decision to move Zola to a semi-wild enclosure of nearly 3 hectares. The transport vehicle carrying Zola stopped in the middle of a vast space filled with fragrant bushes, warm sunshine, and a wide, open sky. The cage door opened, and Zola slowly, tentatively, stepped out, its eyes wide, taking in the new world as if greeting an old friend. The wind stirred through its newly grown, shiny mane, and for the first time in months, its paws touched real grass, not cold, unforgiving iron. Visitors are now allowed to observe Zola from a distance, through the sanctuary's reinforced safety glass fence. They are given detailed, heart-wrenching accounts of Zola's incredible journey, from the squalid landfill to the thriving reserve, by a dedicated tour guide. Everyone is moved after hearing it, especially when they see Zola's original, harrowing photo displayed on the information board. Children who come here to learn about conservation now mention Zola as a living symbol of strength and hope. Elias, now retired from his garbage route, returns once again, this time not to collect trash, but to share his own part of Zola's miraculous story. Ranger Kian and Ranger Lena also attend, standing proudly next to the sign proclaiming, "Zola, the resurrected lion." Zola lies under a sprawling acacia tree, letting out soft, contented growls as he watches the 3 humans who had saved him. That story is not only a miracle for Zola, but also a profound lesson for everyone. 3 months later, Zola was a healthy, majestic male lion, a magnificent presence in the semi-wild area of Thaba Sanctuary. Hundreds of tourists now come just to see the eyes that once survived the dark, forgotten landfill. Elias, though retired, often says, "As long as I'm alive, I still have hope." Zola's story spread widely, becoming a powerful symbol of wildlife conservation in South Africa. And in the bright sunshine of the savannah, the lion still walks, carrying gratitude and a strong heart. What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments in the comments section below.